Happy Wednesday, everyone. I'm glad you could be here today, and we are going to talk about a few things today. And we're not going to we're not going to focus as much on recipes as we are on talking about things that are going on in my neighborhood and very possibly in your neighborhood too. I want to tell you a story about a lady that I talked to last summer. Now, for those of you who are not aware, I live in central Alberta, and so I do, just let me get to where I need to be here. Oh, there we are, just like that. Okay. Um, so last summer I was doing markets, itchy nose, taking TSL organics spices and spice blends all over central Alberta. And I was talking to a lady that was probably in her 70s, and she was excited and sad all at the same time. And the reason for that was she was excited that all of the mask mandates and all of the restrictions in Alberta had been lifted. So this lady who only lived 2 or 3 houses away from her little granddaughter, who was 3 or 4, was excited that she could spend time with her granddaughter again because she had very diligently been following all the restrictions. So she went to her little granddaughter and she said, would you like to have a sleepover at Grandma's house? And they had done this for as long as the little girl had been around, and it was always a very exciting thing for them. But this time the little girl said, Grandma, I can't. I don't want to make you sick. Now that's a really sad story because this little girl was scared of COVID-19. She was scared from everything that she had heard, everything that she had been taught, all of the reasoning that she had been given to wear a mask and stay away from Grandma, and all of those things. When you're a child, you learn and adapt and believe very quickly. Okay, so that was very sad because this little girl absolutely loved her grandma, and she was very, very afraid that she might make Grandma sick. Now, I'm not telling you that story to try and make you feel sorry for anybody or be angry about anything. What I'm trying to do here is show you how children are affected. Now, everybody knows, if you have read anything on the internet about COVID, if you've listened to the news, if you have spent any time with children or with friends, you'll know that mental health is a serious issue. And mental health, the deterioration of mental health for both children and adults in the last 2 years has been a big deal, and we know that the instances of child abuse have gone up, domestic violence has gone up, alcoholism, drug abuse, suicides, attempted suicides, all of these things have they've gone crazy in ways that we never would have expected because this was only going to be for a little while. Okay, so why am I talking to you about this now when we're getting hopefully to the end of the lockdowns and the masking restrictions and the passports, vaccine passports, and all of these things? Well, yesterday in Alberta, our premier announced the end of vaccine passports, the need for them to get into anywhere in Alberta. You don't need them anymore. So that's great. And also announced that on February 14th, children will no longer be required to wear masks in public or at school, which is also in public. And so I want to talk to you about that today while we're making coffee, because coffee, nectar of the gods, we need to do this. And I got to tell you, I'm having an eggnog coffee again this morning, and it is absolutely delicious. So we're going to do a little bit of that, and we're going to do a little bit of talking about children and friends and family and relationships, and hopefully together we can navigate some hopefully new waters that we haven't been allowed to navigate before. Now, I've had a couple of people say, when the announcement was made yesterday that children were no longer going to have to wear masks as of February 14th. Why February 14th? Why not just do it now? Well, it's an easy answer and a not so easy answer in my mind. Not that anyone consulted me when they made that decision, but remember the story I just told you about the little girl? That little girl was very afraid that she might do damage to someone that she loved. She didn't understand. She just knew what she had been told. She knew how dangerous COVID could be. She knew what she knew. And she knew it because she listened to adults. So now, that being said, we have from now until February 14th to talk to children and have them listen to adults again. They need to understand that what was true 2 years ago, or a year ago, or 6 months ago, we're not doing that anymore. It's not true anymore. So I really hope that if you are around children, if you have children, understand that their fear is very real, and their fear is there because of what they've been taught by adults. So be gentle with them. Take time to talk with them and explain to them that it's not only them that doesn't have to wear masks, and it's not only them that are not in danger anymore, but this is just something that we have to learn to live with, and it isn't as dangerous now as it maybe was in the beginning. Be gentle with them and acknowledge that their fear is real and understandable, and very probably that as parents or grandparents we had a part to play in that for whatever reason, whether you believe it, whether you were just following the law, whether you were helping them adapt to being in a new environment in school. It doesn't matter why we've encouraged children to do what they're doing. It matters that it's happened. And so now is the time to be very gentle with these babies and help them. You think about a child who's 5 years old. They have spent half of their life in a mask, around people with masks. They don't remember anything different. You're teaching them something brand new. Okay, so that's the talk about mask mandates and COVID restrictions and whatever it is in your area. Navigate through it with friends and family carefully. And I am excited that everyone will be able to get together with friends, family, and go out for lunch or dinner or brunch or breakfast or whatever it is that they're going out for. That being said, it doesn't mean that you can't have friends and family in your home, and I certainly hope you do, because it's definitely easier to have a conversation that you maybe wouldn't have in public. So, okay, now here's what we are going to do today. There we go. Okay, now I have out my coffee cup, and I have out 3 jars. This is a fun way to serve coffee, especially if you're serving something with espresso in it and you don't want to be giving people, 16 or 24 ounces of espresso and have them running circles on your ceiling. So this is a fun way to serve it. People usually have some jars around, and I know I always have jars around, much to my husband's dismay, but here we are. So, things that you need if you want to make coffee that's a little bit of a step up. Well, the one thing that you don't want to have is coffee cream, 18% coffee cream. 18% means that there's more stuff in it. There's more milk in it. There's more lactose in it. And remember, lactose is milk sugar. So that means that we have more carbs in it. So if we're not going to be using, coffee creamer, what are we using instead? Well, you've got some choices, but here's one. This is 35% whipping cream. Now, if you can find 36 or 38%, absolutely buy that. But 35% is about the best that I'm going to find in my neighborhood. So, what can you do? Now, the other thing, I want to show you something else that is kind of a new thing in my kitchen. Now, this is powdered butter. Now, this is not easy to come by. I know that, and I'm trying to decide whether it's something that I want to make available to people that are using TSL organics. Butter is an important ingredient when you are making a keto type of coffee. So what do you do for a keto coffee if you don't have powdered butter? Well, that's easy. You get out your butter dish. So let's see what we can accomplish here. Now, one of the things that I absolutely love in coffee is a little bit of cinnamon. But if you just put a little bit of cinnamon in a cup of coffee, it's just mostly going to sink to the bottom. When you're making a pot of coffee, if you want that beautiful cinnamon flavor, two things are true. First of all, you want to put a teaspoon of it in your basket with your coffee grounds, and that way it's infusing into the coffee flavor the whole time. Now, the other thing is you want to make sure that you have TSL Organic Ceylon cinnamon. That's the real deal. That's true cinnamon. And a lot of people just have ordinary cinnamon that they buy in the grocery store. That is not the cinnamon that has all of the health benefits that you're wanting from cinnamon, and it doesn't have anywhere near the flavor that Ceylon cinnamon does. So let's see what we can do here. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to pour some coffee into our cup. Now, I did not put cinnamon in this, and that's okay because we're gonna get to that. Now, the next thing, I'm just going to put just a wee little dab of cream in it just to give that coffee a little bit of color. So maybe half a teaspoon. And we're going to give that a bit of a stir just to take the black coffee look away. Now, why am I just doing that wee little bit? If you want cream in your coffee, you really want cream in your coffee. Well, I will show you why. If you want your coffee sweetened, a whipped cream charger. That is absolutely the way to go. Now you can sweeten this with, oh, here we go. There we are. You can sweeten whipped cream with all kinds of things. You can sweeten it with cinnamon. You can sweeten it with Da Vinci sugar-free syrups. So an eggnog syrup in there, that would be amazing. Banana syrup. Now that sounds crazy for coffee, and I know it does, but you know, I had somebody tell me that they put banana syrup in their coffee, and I went, I don't really know about that. But I tried it because I'm nothing if not adventurous, and it was amazing. So on top of this, just put a wee little sprinkle of Ceylon cinnamon, and now you've gone from having something that was pretty to something that was very elegant. And you can make those up very quickly, and you can put different syrups on the table. Okay, so next. Now we can use the butter powder, but I know that most of you don't have butter powder at home. So instead of that, we're going to take about 15 milliliters of butter, just a wee bit. Now this is going to give you some extra fat in your coffee. And so if you wake up in the morning and you're just not really hungry, but you're craving something, do this, because I promise you, you won't be sorry. Okay, we're going to do a little bit of coffee on top of that butter. Now, if you want to throw this in your blender, or you have okay, we're just going to leave that in there to melt. If you want to put this in your blender and whip it up, you end up with this amazing, beautiful cappuccino. It is wonderful and awesome. Now, I like my coffee sweetened. If you don't, then this is maybe good to go the way it is. You want some cream in your coffee? Well, we've already got butter in there. So let's add some almond milk, coconut milk. My favorite lately, and I just splashed it all over the place, is Milkademia. Now, I get this at Costco, and it's wonderful, and it really is incredible in coffee and lots of other places, and it surprisingly tastes like milk. But there's only 1 gram of carbs in a whole cup. You don't get that with milk. Okay, so now let's give this a bit of a stir. And I don't mind that little bit of butter floating on top because it means that my coffee is going to continue to cool off. And so we have a buttered eggnog coffee. You want to do that with buttered rum, sugar-free syrup, knock yourself out. You want to do it with powdered erythritol. Now, if you're going to do it with a granular erythritol, I would suggest letting that melt in coffee. Granular erythritol just absolutely does not dissolve in coffee the way sugar would. So you need to be careful with that. Okay, so next. Now we've got one with whipped cream. We've got one with butter. What if you want your coffee black? Well, if you want your coffee black, that's easy. Now, did you put cinnamon in the basket? Because if you did, you've got that beautiful, rich Ceylon cinnamon flavor. If you didn't, then you've got a coffee flavor that you can add anything to. So one of my favorites, and you can use this in so many things, and I know we don't talk about this one very rarely, dulce de leche. Now this is a Spanish caramel type of sweetener, and it is absolutely delicious, and you can use it in many things. So sweeten to taste. And so just that fast, you have a cup of coffee, and a cup of coffee, and a cup of coffee. So the bigger one, bon appetit, that one's for you, my friends. But when you're trying to, oh, that is so good. When you're trying to make a pot of coffee go a little bit farther, and you want it to be rich and decadent and lovely, and share it with your friends, then doing it in something like this gives it a rustic look, but it's elegant at the same time, and everybody will comment on it. You want to make people look twice at you? Go through a drive-through and order a cup of coffee with 2 pats of butter and see what kind of a reaction you get. It can be a lot of fun. Now, there's one more thing that I want to talk to you, and I know, usually we don't talk about this whole COVID thing, and I am very happy not talking about it. But mental health, physical health, nutritional health, all part and parcel of the same package, because it's all part of you, and you are a complete package. So you not only need to take care of your nutritional health, but you need to take care of your mental health and your physical health as well. So something, and I listened to the press conference in Alberta yesterday, and I thought this was such a beautiful comparison and so true. Jason Kenney was talking about people basically shunning people who were on the opposite side of the vaccine fence. So, I don't have my vaccine, so I don't like you because you do. I do have my vaccine, so I don't want to talk to you. I don't like you because you don't. Please don't let that divide you. Please don't allow this to become something that further divides your community, your family. Restrictions are being lifted because people in authority, whether they are scientific brains or political brains, believe that the time has come that we get back to normal. Please be that person that makes an effort to get back to normal. Do your very best to live your best version of this shining life and include other people in that shiny circle, because they need you. And they need you to be accepting and forgiving and loving. And they need you to expect that from them as well. So be gentle. Understand that people, just because restrictions have been lifted, It doesn't mean that people are going to automatically go back to where they were 2.5 years ago. Yeah, that's sad, isn't it? But it is where we are. And it doesn't matter why we are where we are. It doesn't matter whether you agree with it or disagree with it. It matters that we are. And if you've noticed, I do not ever talk to you about how I feel because it doesn't matter. I also don't share with you what happened at my last doctor's appointment or whether or not I'm seeking help for mental health issues and I don't share any of those kinds of things because those are personal, private things that I don't want to share and have them have an impact on how you look at me, one way or the other. There are always going to be three kinds of people. There are people that are going to be on this side of the fence, people that are going to be on this side of the fence, and people that are going to be sitting up on the fence not sure where they should be. So whatever kind of people you are, whatever kind of people you have in your life, do your best to be an accepting kind. Accept people's opinions and attitudes. What's your favorite color? My favorite color is purple. And if your favorite color is black or green or pink, it doesn't make you wrong. It means that you have a difference of opinion with me. And I can still love you and appreciate you just as much as if your favorite color was purple. Okay. I know that I have rambled on about restrictions and COVID and changes, and I am finally very excited to be able to get back to normal with all of my friends and all of my family, vaccinated, not vaccinated, angry, happy, dealing with mental health issues, not dealing with mental health issues. I'm there for them, and I want you to be there for the people in your life. Be there for the people who maybe haven't been in your life as much. I heard a story yesterday about a little boy who was 3 years old, and so he was only a year old when all of this started. And so for the first time in over 2 years, Mom and Dad packed everything up and they drove 4 hours to go to Grandma and Grandpa's house to have a visit, to see the grandparents that this little boy hadn't seen in 2 years. And when it got to be bedtime, the little boy was panicking because he wasn't at home. He didn't know how to be anywhere else. That isn't something that we can take lightly. It's something that we have to be very gentle with children and adults, and very gently help them get back to what we consider normal. And it's important to remember that they don't necessarily. So have a cup of coffee, share it with a friend, a family member, a neighbor, and do it in a way that is healthy, and help them do it in a way that's healthy too. And teach somebody that doesn't know you about keto. You can be the teacher now because of everything that you're learning. Okay, so that is lovely. There you go. So, from me to you, do your very best to live your best version of this shining life. And whether you're watching this live or you're watching it on a replay, thank you so much for being here. Your support means more than I can tell you. And I hope that you will be here again on Friday at noon. Not really sure what we're doing on Friday at noon, but we will be doing something, and it'll be something fun, I hope. That's my plan. Okay, so gather your friends, gather your family, beam it to your TV, get some people together, and join me on Friday, and we will do something fun. And if you have a suggestion, let me know what it is. Send me an email, send me a note, put a message in the chat, and I will do what I can to help you live your very best version of the shining life. That's what I'm going to go and do. I'm going to be in Wetaskiwin this afternoon with TSL Organics, Fine Herbs and Spices, and my line of Da Vinci sugar-free syrups. Well, not my line, but the syrups that I'm making available. So have an amazing day, and smile and give someone a hug. And I will see you on